Hello and welcome to I Hit Drums. This is lesson 6 of the beginner video course. In this lesson, you'll learn about the 3 different note values that you're likely to come across as a beginner drummer. And these are quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. We're going to start by working on these different note values individually, but then by the end of the lesson, you should be able to move between these different note values. Now, what are note values? Now, essentially, these are ways of writing out music. Now, particularly within melodic instruments, a note can be held for a varying amount of time. Now, with drums, it's a little bit different because when we hit a bass drum or a snare drum, it just goes bop and it stops. That's it. On a piano, you might be able to hold down a key and that's going to last for a specific amount of time. And the amount of time that that key is held down for will change the note that is written. Within drumming, it's slightly different. The note values within drumming essentially mean that when you see that note, that's when you're going to hit something, and the length of that note defines when you can play the next thing. But notes are also a way of subdividing space. So you might have a space within music that lasts for half a second. Now, this could be chopped up into a variety of ways depending on what kind of note value you use, but we'll get into that as we work through the 3 different note values. Now we're going to need to move to a kit for the rest of this lesson, so either get to your kit or get to a pad or even just a pair of sticks will do for this, and we're going to work through these 3 different note values. We've already talked about quarter notes within the last couple of lessons, and that was what is a bar and how to use metronomes. But essentially a quarter note is the numbers when we're counting. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So within a bar of music, assuming that we're playing in 4/4 time, which again we've talked about in previous lessons, then you can fit 4 of these beats or 4 of these counts within a bar. So each bar can have 4 of those counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to put on a metronome at 60. All you need to do is play along with the click. You're going to get that initial counting of 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you're going to play along with that click. And each hit should be landing with a click. So let's move to the kit, give that a try. And for these ones, you're just counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and try and play the whole thing right, left, right, left. And we'll just work through the 2 bars so you can see here once. So make sure you count yourself in first of all. Get a feel for that speed. 1, 2, here we go. Okay, let's try that again. So once again, make sure you listen to the click. 4 clicks first, just to get a feel for it. Then count yourself in, and then try these 2 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a nice, easy start. We're starting quite slow, and another way you can think about those quarter notes is as the kind of slow ones. Okay, moving on to eighth notes. Now, if you imagine like a pizza, and you've got a pizza cut into 4 quarters, that's like the quarter notes, 4 slices of pizza. Now, with eighth notes, we're going to count this 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that's like taking each quarter slice of pizza and chopping them in half again. So we're actually getting more slices, but we're getting smaller slices. Now, some people like the pizza analogy, some people don't, but I quite like it. So we haven't gained more pizza. We're just getting more slices, and the slices have got smaller. So that means that we can move from one slice to the next more quickly. And just like with eighth notes themselves, we move from one note to the next more quickly. In fact, twice as fast as we're playing quarter notes. So if we had 1, 2, 3, 4 for the quarter notes, we're now going to have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and for the eighth notes. So when you're playing this pattern, right, left, you should be hearing those clicks land with every right hand hit, with the left hand playing every and in between the clicks. So again, let's move to the kit and let's give this a try. So this time we're counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and no gaps in between the bars. The right hand, because we're still doing right, left, that right hand is going to be falling with the click. The left hand is going to be in between the click. So once again, let's listen to that click, 1 bar through, then let's count a bar of eighth notes and then come in with these 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, second time around, let's try it again. Listen to the bar count first of all, count yourself in as eighth notes, and then try the 2 bars. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And now moving on to 16th notes. Now again, if we imagine that pizza that we had earlier, it was cut into 8 slices last time. Now imagine taking each of those slices, cutting all of those in half again. Each quarter is still the same quarter, but when we chopped it into eighth notes, we had 2 slices within that quarter. Now for 16th notes, we're going to have 4 slices within that quarter. And again, those slices are going to be even smaller, which means we can eat them all really quick. So for the notes, for 16th notes themselves, we can actually move through these notes very fast because the notes themselves are actually very, very short. So we can move from one hit to the next even faster. In fact, 16th notes are again twice as fast as 8th notes. Now the way we count 16th notes, in case you don't already know, is 1 E and A, 2 E and A, 3 E and A, 4 E and A. Now the numbers that we originally started with in quarter notes, they're still there. The 1, 2, 3, 4 is still within that count. And in relation to the click of the metronome, they're still falling in the same positions. And within the 1 E and A, we still have the and as well. And that's still falling in the same place that we counted 1 and 2 and 3 E and 4 E and We've just added an E in between the number and the and then we've added an A after the and. If you look at the notes, you'll see that these are actually also in groups of 4. And each group of 4 is actually related to that particular number in question. So we have a group of 4 right at the beginning of a bar, 1 eander, that's all part of beat 1. And then we have the next group of 4, that's 2 eander, that's all part of beat 2, and so on and so on. So we have quite a good visual way of seeing these 16th notes in relation to the click. So as you're playing along right, left for these ones, the click should be falling on the first hit within each group of 4. And it's really important that you don't add a little pause after each group. You don't want to do 1 eander, 2 eander. We don't want that gap. It's just 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. So once again, let's move to the kit. Let's give that a try. Again, we're still playing this at 60 BPM. We haven't changed the speed here. We're just playing more notes within the same space. So this time we're going to be counting 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. Make sure that for the whole thing you're doing right, left, 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 right, left. And yeah, again, make sure that you listen to the bar first of the click and then count yourself in with 16th notes and then try the exercise. Here we go. 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. Okay, so for some of you that might be a little bit fast, but let's try it again. 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. We've had quarter notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes. And now to put that new understanding of note values to the test, it's time to see if we can move between them. So we're going to be working on quite a large exercise here. It's actually a 12-bar exercise, but we're not just going to go straight for the whole thing. We're going to break it up into smaller chunks. In fact, we're going to do one line at a time. And to start with, we're going to try the first line. And what we have here is a bar of quarter notes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, moving into a bar of eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And let's give that a try. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're actually going to jump to the third line of this exercise because we're going to go from eighth notes to 16th notes. So we're doubling that speed again. Only this time we're not starting at the slowest rate, we're starting at the medium rate. So this is going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and going straight into the 16th notes, 1 E and a 2 E and so on. Let's try this line. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so the second line of this exercise is slightly trickier. The last two examples, we've started at one note value and then we've doubled how fast we're playing. In this line, you'll see that we're actually playing quarter notes and then we're moving straight to 16th notes. So we're not doubling the speed we're playing, we're quadrupling the speed. So this is going to be going from the very slow ones, the 1, 2, 3, 4, straight to 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a. So there's a strong chance you might not get this the first time, so we'll give this one a couple of tries. But let's try this line once through. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's try that one again just to be on the safe side. That one's a bit trickier. Hopefully this time around you've got a better grasp of how fast you're going to be going for those 16th notes. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to try the entire exercise now. And don't worry if this falls apart, it's fine. This is something you can work on. I'll make this exercise available on my website for you to download for free, so you can practice that over the next week or so. But let's give the whole thing a try. And if it does fall apart and you struggle to keep your place, just pause for a second and just listen and see if you can find your place on the written music based on what I'm doing. And remember, you can always rewind this and just give it another shot. Let's give that a try. Okay, time for the whole thing. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's the note values that you're likely to come across as a beginner drummer. Quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes. You've played through all of those. You've also tried moving between those different note values in that large exercise at the end. And like I said, I've made that available as a download for you to use in your own practice. If you have any questions, let me know. That's it for this lesson. But until next time, enjoy.